It's Alejandro at programbrain.com to show you how to use database connection pools and thread pools. These are generally known as resource pools, and the concept is having an entity or like an object or a class or some kind of component that keeps resources, a limited number of them, and then all other threads can go there to this pool and land one of them, use it, and then return it to the pool. This is very useful because maybe these resources are very expensive to create, or they consume a lot of memory or resources in general, and you don't want to just have an unlimited number of these, and also you don't want to have only one of them. You need multiple so you can scale your applications. So let's find out how to use these two types of pools. And so for that, I'm going to create a new project here in IntelliJ IDEA using Maven, no archetype. It's going to be empty. Let's call this pool or resource pool example. Like I said, it's empty, but we need one dependency. I'm going to bring MariaDB, the DBC driver, to the project. This is the latest stable version. There we go. Let me reload the project. And that's it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do is I have MariaDB running. So I'm just gonna create a connection here in my IDE. MariaDB. Again, this is IntelliJ IDEA. User and password are my credentials. Succeeded. Okay. And in this database, I have one table. Well, not one table. I have, where is the shortcut command? I have one schema, database, JDBC demo. I think it was something like that. And now in that one, I have only one table, I think. Yeah, there we go. So programming language, it has two columns, name and rating. And in fact, there is some data there already. C++ and Java, they have rating is kind of, it's going to be like vote. We could actually do that. Let's rename these. I think we can rename these, to votes. If I select this, yep, so it's a bit more clear what we are gonna do. All right, the project is empty, but I'm gonna create a new Java class here, com.example.application, and this is just gonna have a pull static void main, the entry point of a Java application. But we also want to have kind of a service application, so let's call that service. Should we call it voting service maybe? Let's call it like that. Or programming language service, whatever. That's fine. And it's going to be where is it called? I forgot. Singleton. So there's going to be only one instance per application. Well, we only have one application, so it's going to be only one instance. So to do that, we need to define static voting service, the instance instance. Where is this? Instance. I don't know what's that. And it's, as you can see, it's private. And the other thing we need to do is add a constructor that is also private. So I cannot go ahead and let's go to the other class, the application. I cannot do new service. It's not there. Service. It's not there. It says, let's see what it says. Can resolve symbol. It's in the same package, right? Of course, it's voting service. Voting service. That's gonna say has a private X. Well, anyway, I'm taking too much time to explain this silly thing. So how can I do that? How can I get an instance then? Let's do it right here. So public static get instance, and this returns a voting service. Now this is basically an if it's null, then do something, but we can do this instance. Is it null? Yes, then create a new one. Voting service. We can call new voting service. We can call the constructor from the same class. That's no problem. If not, just return the instance. Return. There you go. So that's how we get an instance here. So let's create. Let's get it. Voting service. It's called just. Now let's call it voting service because maybe there's gonna be another one later. Voting service dot get instance. Very good. And so what is this voting service all about? Here we're going to encapsulate all the access to the database and maybe business logic as well. And the application is just it's gonna be simulating the usage of this service. It could be maybe similar to a web service or something like that. Or maybe this is the web service and this would be a web application and then it calls things. So of course it wouldn't be maybe Java, but it would be a JavaScript running on the browser, that kind of stuff. So it's gonna get clear as we code some more stuff here. So database. So we need a connection to the database. So typically you would do something like static. You want to have maybe one connection, right? Connection, and then you use the driver manager to get. Is it driver manager? I forgot the name of this thing. Connection dot get connection, and you pass all the things to connect to the database. But then you will have only one, and then when you create new methods here, we're gonna have one for example to return get ratings as a string. So just return something for now. But this is gonna use the connection here, right? And maybe we have another method that is vote for a programming language string, name of the programming language. And again, we are going to use the connection here because we need to read the database here and we need to write things to the database. So what is the problem here? That if this application, and that's something we're gonna do, has a lot of threads, right? And you can create threads like this, and you pass a runnable. Oops, what did I do there? Right, let's see if I can type today. And you can have like a lot, of course, maybe you can iterate or something, but let's say you have this, right? And you start those things. So not like this, but you also start them, all of them. And inside this block of code, maybe you use the voting service and vote for, let me see, what do I have here? I don't remember. Do we have any? Yeah, we have C++ and Java. So maybe you vote for C++, let's say. Right? Again, let me show you. Yes, just like so that you get the idea. So you have, let's do it one line for now. So you have all this stuff here. So that's going to be a lot of users, or this is simulating a lot of users voting, right? And it's so fast that probably it's going to be, because it's a new thread, it's going to be concurrent, right? So we don't know if this call here, let me select, this one here is going to get called before this or that. We really don't know. The order is not going to be like that. So for example, if there was a Java guy here, that'll be me. So it's not like I'm gonna be like it's not gonna happen just like that, right? It's in threads. So maybe let's say executed this one, but then maybe this one, then another one, and then this and so forth. So order is not guaranteed here, is what I'm trying to say, because we have threads, separate threads. They have their own life, and they can run. The processor is gonna take turns there to run this, or if there are several processors, then it's gonna be they're gonna be assigned to those. Anyway. This is what something like this is what we want to do. And if we only have one connection, like what I have right now, well, I didn't complete this, but you get the idea, and all the stuff is here. Then, let's say for some reason we arrive to this line, Java, and I'm voting, so I go to the method, and I'm using the connection. And it takes time because of reason. There's some complicated calculations going on there. And then this guy arrives, or we're able to now execute this line, but the connection is ready, so I can't use it. And, it's going to be a problem, right? So we need many connections. Now you can say, well, sure, why don't you just create the connection every time you need it? So don't have one connection, just you need one, go ahead, create it. Sure, when you are getting the ratings also, go ahead and create it. Yeah, sure, but what if we have, say, 1 million of these? I'm gonna create 1 million connections. Maybe that's not good. Maybe that's not exactly what we want. Maybe we cannot afford that in the hardware we have or the network that we have. What else? What can we do? Well, create many connections. Oh, let me get back to this one. Create many connections. Oops, what did I do there? Let me duplicate this. And of course you call this connection 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course you will create an array, no, not like this, not copy pasting stuff, but just so you get the idea. So it would be an array of connections. And we initialize that somehow, right? So, not like that, but somehow we initialize this array. And now we have many, and then, well, we can just use one that's available. Well, that's the idea of a connection pool. It's just that it's a bit more complicated than just having an array of connections. And it's a very well-known pattern in the industry, so there are many implementations, and MariaDB has one. That's what I'm going to use here, so we don't have to bring any other dependencies. It's called MariaDB pool data source. So kind of, you can think of it as inside this guy, let's call this data source. Inside this object, there are going to be many connections. So we don't need to worry about creating the connections as such, and then we are going to lend these connections from this data source and return the lended connection back to the pool when we are done with it. But for that we need to initialize these things. So data source, first we need to create a new instance. There we go, and then we can set the URL, that's the connection string, JDBC connection, JDBC, Maria, DB, and then localhost 3306 and JDBC demo. I think it was like that, JDBC demo. Yeah, there you go. Try catch. Let's move this here. Format. I'm going to try to ignore the exceptions, just print the thing there, just to focus on the actual logic. But in a real application, you have to think carefully about what you do with these things. Data source, we need to set probably the user, and we need to set the password. Okay, there we go. So this is ready. The data source is ready, but something that we should do also is close this data source. So let's create this method here, void. Let's call it shutdown. We're just going to take the data source and just close. I think it's the method. There we go. And instance is going to be null now. So if we get another instance, it's going to create a new one, and that's going to create a new data source and so forth. So it seems like this should work. And let's call shutdown here at the very end of this. What was it? Voting service dot shutdown. Okay. Don't worry, I'm gonna get rid of this in a moment. This is horrible, but it's just so that you get the idea. There we go. So now we have a database pool ready, configured. And we can say things such as data source dot set max pool size. So how many connections do we have? Do we want to have there at most? So is it 10? Is it 5? Is it 100? 1,000? So let's say we want to have 20 connections. Again, how do we use these connections? Let's implement. Should we implement this first? You know what? We don't even need this, because we can always just go ahead and query here the stuff, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Doesn't matter. Or should I? You know what? I'm gonna do it. Yeah, let's not be lazy. Let's do that part real quick. So let's do this. Let's get a connection. So we have the data source, which is a pool. We just call get connection. This is going to retrieve one ready to use connection from the pool. But we need to close it. So connection.close when we are done with it, that is. Or we can just use, how can I do this here? Surround, try with resources block. So it's gonna call, Java is gonna call close for us. And, well, we have to return something here, right? But it's not compiling because we'll have to return something there, but I don't like that idea, so I'm just going to throw a new, like I said, I'm gonna ignore for now exception, so don't do this at home. Do some proper handling of the exceptions, but it's just so that we can focus on what's inside this block. Okay, so now let's implement that. Get ratings. What I want to return is all the ratings of the programming languages. So with this connection, we need to prepare a statement. Select name votes. We'll change the name from programming language, all of them. And let me maybe format this like that, because we're gonna assign this to a statement. And the statement, well, we execute it, we get the result set, and we iterate over it while result set.next. So there's a cursor here, so that you know, in case you know, you did see, well, there's a cursor, in a database cursor, pointing to just before the first row, and the next method moves the cursor to the first row, the first time you call it, and then to the next and the next. And it returns false when there are no more rows to iterate on. So this is exactly what we need. Then we can get the result set and get a string, which is the column is name right here, and the other one is votes. So this is name, result set. Get the other one is an integer, so let's get that votes, and we can concatenate this. I'm just gonna use string concatenation output. We just say output, just concatenate the name of the programming language, colon, and votes, and maybe a period to separate them. and return that thing, return the output. Okay, good. Let's check that out. Let me close this. Like I said, this is not what we actually want to do. This is horrible, really. So let's just do the following. Let's not use threads even, just for now. We just have one thread. It's one person. You can think of it as one person, one user, or one browser sending this request to the service. Vote for C++, which is not implemented. So to avoid distraction, let's, what was it? Get ratings, and we want to system out print. But you know what? Because maybe we are going to be printing stuff. So let's create a private void log string what message, I guess. I'm not gonna use any login framework here, just this. But just because I want to print the name of the thread, and then we can print the message. So we can log gonna be static. So we can call it from another static method. I'm just gonna log this, no variables there, just to make the code shorter. There we go. So it's showing that there are no votes so far, and was from the main method. Very good. Now, let's also, so we are using here a connection pool. Let's implement vote now, actually, before we proceed, because we need this part. And for that, well, it's pretty similar, I guess. No, it's data source that get connection. And then we do these, and try with resources, and yeah, sure, add catch. And connection dot prepare statement. Insert into programming language name. It's not the insert. What am I talking about? Update programming language set rating votes. Why did I change the name of this? Oh, for clarity. Okay, fair enough. Votes +1. Where it's very important. Where the caps key is not working that well anymore. Where name equals something that we don't know, and this is the number 1, parameter number 1. If there was another one later, number 2, number 3, but we don't have those, so it's only number 1. It starts with 1. Why am I saying this? Because this statement needs a string. We need to set a string, a parameter kind of this query. Parameter index is 1. That's where I was mentioning 1, 2, 3 there. Okay. Name. So it's gonna inject name in the parameter number 1, which is this by position, and it starts with 1, not with 0. Statement. These are JDBC stuff or terms. Execute update, I think, and now we can vote for a programming language in theory. Let's see. Let's try it out. Voting service dot vote. Let's vote for Java. No, but we need to maybe duplicate this. So maybe separate kind of the infrastructure code here. So this is more like the logic stuff. So we log the stuff, we print the things, and then we vote for Java, and then we print again. So it should show that Java has 1 vote. Nice. Okay, very good. Very well for Java. Got the first vote ever in the history of this application. Unbelievable. Anyway, back to the code. Let's focus on this. So I think we kind of have this ready. Now, yeah, it's silly because it's only 1 thread right now, like I said, but remember all those lines I deleted here? Let's now do that again. So let me remove all these. So for that, we are going to create a pool of threads. And Java has this class that allows us to create a thread pool. So let's use fix thread pool. This means that Java is going to create 10 threads, or 4, or 9, or 100, or 1,000, up to you. Let's say we want, how many? 30 of them? How many did we have here, by the way? We had 20 here. Let's change this back to 10, or, well, not back, I never used anything than 20 there. And let's use 50 here, so much more, 50, right? Just to make a point later. If I remember, executor service. And this is a pool. So we have threads right there. So it has done this part, new thread, kind of, right? It has done this 50 times. And we need to execute service shutdown. We need to do that too, to free all these resources when we are done. So at the end of the application logic. Very good. So we want to create many. How do we send, or how do we run logic inside one of these threads? How can I get one of these threads and run logic, right? So the executor service or pool, we can call the submit. It's kind of submit a task, right? But we're gonna use runnable because it's very easy with a lambda expression like this. Just like I did before, but this time it's more elegant now because we are using a pool of threads, a thread pool. And what we're gonna do here is vote for one programming language. Let's keep voting. You know what? Let's use C++ because it has zero votes, and it's not fair. It's a good language as well, I think. And this will submit one vote in a separate thread. Now, we want to do this many times, so we can do a for loop, or let me show you another way of doing it, is using int stream range closed. Let's say we want how many? Let's read 100 votes. How about that? 100 votes. Now we need to map, this creates 100 integers with the values 1 to 100, I believe. So we need to map these to an object of type runnable so that then later we can submit that runnable. So that's what I'm going to do here. So let's map these to an object, something like this, right? We just create a new runnable here in the form of a lambda expression again, right? And here, in fact, you could have just copied that. Let's move this over here. And when I did this, we can keep it like that. So now we have, at this point, we have a bunch of runnables. So we need to call submit on every single one of those. So for each runnable, we call execute service dot submit runnable, but we can simplify this with a method reference, just like that. And now it looks much nicer. So create 100 integers, map each one to a new runnable, and then each of these runnables, send it to submit. That's what I'm doing here. Sure, we could have used a for loop, but I wanted to show you this way because it kind of looks cool. All right, so now we have kind of 100 people voting. This is simulating 100, almost like 100 concurrent users, because this is gonna be super fast. This part, this is fast, super fast. What might not be that fast is actually the voting service, depending or on compared to running just this kind of for loop. And this part is going to be executed when you submit, but when there is a thread that is ready, because we only have 50 threads, and we are creating 100 threads, or 100. We are submitting 100 tasks in form of a runnable, but these are tasks. They are not threads. 100 tasks, and we have only 50 threads, so they have to share the runnables, right? All right, so where was I? All right, so it's going to execute that, but here we have another thread. Is this the main method? This one thread, and then we will have 50 threads somewhere. We cannot call executive service shutdown and then voting service shutdown if this is not ready, so we need to wait. So actually we can call shutdown, right? Because it's fine. The only difference is that no new tasks will be accepted. So we do that, and then we need to wait, because this could be pretty fast. We need to await termination. Let's say, I don't think it's gonna take more than a minute. So let's say 1 minute, and this throws an exception. Let's add it to the method signature. Like I said, I'm not going to deal with exceptions in this example application. This is so that we wait here for 1 minute, given the chance to all these things to run. So we don't shut down the voting service and then the connection is gonna fail. Or maybe there is a lock somewhere. Anyway, let me see. Very good. Maybe we want to duplicate this thing, and just once we are done with everything, right here before shutting down the service, of course, because we need it here, we show the ratings. Very good. Should I just try it? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Okay, we have, that was fast, I think. We have 100 votes for C++, but they happened in separate threads. Maybe what we can do is, actually, I have to expand this. Let's add a log here that says voting. Now we should see 100 lines there. There we go. So you can see that there are different threads voting. They have different names. And it's not even much, it's only 100. What if we had 100,000 or 500,000 or 1,000,000? Is that 1,000,000? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 zeros. Yeah. What happens then? Well, let's try it. Let's just try it. So it keeps voting and voting, but it's not consuming a whole lot of memory. It's only having 50 threads at must, top, that's top, and on the service side, it's using, this application is using a max of 10 connections. How can we check that? I think we can check that. Is it done? Oh no, it's still going here. Let me go to terminal. Maybe you want to see these actually, so let me go here. Oh, it's done actually. Wow, C++ has quite a lot of votes, and now it's Java with no many. So let's change that in the application. Let's vote. We could have done like a random thing here, would have been cooler maybe, but it would be harder to track. Now let's get 2 million to Java. Run. So there we go. People are voting like crazy. Now let's connect to MariaDB. Why am I doing this? Because I want this thing here. Yeah, let's do it this way. Now, let me see. I think it was show status, maybe. I'm not sure if it's actually there. It's a bit too big. There we go. Okay, give me a bit more space. Threads running. Threads connected, 12. So there are 12. We had 10 max here, 10, but there are 12. Well, this is one, and the other one is probably this one. Okay, so it's all good. So we have the 10 threads connected. It's like connections, really. I think another way to see this is show process list. If you want to see more, well, it's already done. But here you can see a bunch of things. You see that the what users I'm using here. So this is maybe this client show process list. Yeah, and this is not running anything. Anyway, so let's change to what is the application? Let's change to C++ now. Oh, something happened actually. Let me see. Maybe it was a bit too much, or maybe this was already 1 minute. That's probably what happened. Let's get back to 1 million. But as you can see, we can configure this very easily. So let's run this again. Stop and rerun, yeah. Voting stuff, and what I wanted to show you is, oh, I have it here actually, process list. So these are all the 10 connections just running there, and you can see what it's doing. In case you want to check that. So this is how we can see it. It's actually working, the connection pool to the database. What else can we do here? Well, let's just wait until this finishes. I want to make sure that the application actually works. There we go. So so Java won this time, apparently. That's the idea. We have 2 connection pools, one for the database connections, another one for the threads, which is over here. Now the application is able to manage a lot of requests. That's how resource pooling works. I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you would like to learn about Java software development in general. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.